Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? Your girl G here. Welcome back to my channel. Y'all know what time it is. We are back. Last week was the Super Bowl, so there obviously wasn't any, Potomac and Married to Medicine, but it finally came on last night. So if y'all click on this video, you already know we are talking about the Potomac. Shout out to Rodney, the Potomac ladies. The ladies actually gave us a little bit of something. They gave us a sludge of luxury. This episode. I guess they were trying to save up their coins to do the DR. Because yeah, that trip to Austin was getting real. Shein Rainbow 579 base, okay? It wasn't giving Nordstrom's. It wasn't giving Bloomingdale's, okay? But nonetheless, you guys, Potomac episode, it's gonna be a real quick review because honestly not too much happened. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So we open up with Mia talking to G. She's filling G in on what happened at the Happy Eddie event, and she basically was like talking about how her interaction with Karen is. She's like, I know how to deal with Karen. When she's around different people, she act different. Basically, is what you want to say, and so she knows how to operate with her. But then in the confessional, the producers was like, well, did you also tell him about what Karen said about the rapper? And she was like, I might have left that information out. She ain't gotta tell him. He already know. G admitted that they had an arrangement when he tried to blast her during the divorce. So he already knew she had a little side pain. He already knew that. He know he can't get his up unless he's drinking that Cialis in the morning with his eggs. He already know he ain't getting that lip noodle up. So if you want to keep the woman that look good, he know what's up. I gotta let her get her back blown out on the side. But did he know is that dude though, the one that Karen was alluding to, the one that she's with right now, allegedly. But nonetheless, Ashley comes in, and Ashley, I guess, stayed in the same building or like the building across from it. So she's talking about, this was a good building. Me and Michael, we stayed there for years. And so it's very clear that Mia has been the horse that is running between Ashley and Robin, being able to speak to them actually about their stories. Because y'all notice, Mia was the only person that's been able, besides Gizelle and Ashley, to talk to Robin about the stuff with Juan. And then Ashley, this is like the third time that she's talked to Ashley about her marriage. It's very obvious that Ashley and Robin don't have no intentions on having no scenes with, Wendy or Candace about the whole Juan situation, or Karen for that fact, which is some bull. Because it really should have been Robin's season where y'all ate her ears up, because she showed no remorse when it was y'all. But now all of a sudden she's, this is what I can't stand. Don't try to make me the bully. I didn't do nothing to y'all. Girl, go check the DVR. Run them seasons back, okay? But what was I going to say? Mia and Ashley, they are sitting down, and Mia gets to talking to Ashley about her situation with Michael, divorce and everything, because her and G talked about it. She was like, G basically said like, we would have had an arrangement, so like, girls, that's what it's looking like for you. And Ashley literally has to admit to herself, like, she already knew. We already knew Ashley was with Michael for security, like that was a given. But I guess to how bad the extent was, I think is what we didn't know as viewers. Like, we already knew her and Sharon, had lived under the bridge and stuff, but the extent in which she has let Michael take over so much financially is not the problem. That you like were using Michael financially. Go ahead, cookie make dollar make the cookie go woo woo. Okay, I ain't mad at it, but if you gonna be in this situations, girl, you gotta have an escape plan. That man Michael, if you knew like eventually one day like you wanted to not be under his thumb, how were you with this man for 10 years and ain't saved like nothing? You ain't picked up nothing. You hoes is hustling backwards, okay? When you get in the situation, you tell that man it is $5,000 a month when really it's only $3,500, and you pocket that 15 and you put it in a outside account, okay, in your mama name, like how the dope boys do. Put it in your mama name, all right? So it's just like, Ashley, you was hustling all types of backwards, girl. You gotta operate as if it could end tomorrow, all right? And now here it is ending, and you gotta depend on this man to keep this house because you want to keep living the same lifestyle. When in actuality, like, actually, you could manage, minimizing a little bit. It ain't got to be a $2 million house, but you want to maintain, the rich lifestyle. So that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to take care of that old raisin when he get done having back surgery, okay? Because ain't nobody else going to rub sunscreen on that nasty ass back. But yeah, no, she basically just kind of talked about, wanting to be more financially, on her own, and, she'll shoot for the end of the year. She's like, maybe by the end of the year, hopefully. Never. That ain't never gonna happen. They basically talk about going to the DR. Robin, I guess, invited everybody at NECA's little house unboxing party or whatever. Everybody's attending. Robin's like, I didn't want to be like a whole thing, so I just invited everybody because we're not gonna treat this like no kumbaya trip. Everybody's gonna be there. It's given this was a cash trip. We don't let you hoes glide. With Gizelle not showing up and Robin not in certain places, like, everybody gonna have to come up, okay? Get your paycheck. Everybody's showing up to this trip. So after Chris and Candace basically have a moment. Candace, she got a whole bunch of stuff that she gotta unpack. Retail therapy, she's spending money on stuff. And Chris is like, girl, you spending money, cool and everything, but it's time for us to have a conversation about the time. The roles have reversed. It went from, Chris working all the time to now Candace working all the time, and Chris worked from home. He a content creator. I'm sure he does okay doing that, but nonetheless, he's asking for time, and it's like the second part of her deep space tour, her tour is getting ready to start. And so, Candace, if you want your man, make sure you keep that in the calendar, okay? Because he's asking for the same thing that you was asking for him, But then they started getting to talking about the IVF situation, and he's like, well, do you think about it? Because I guess they had froze some semen or something like that. And so he's like, have you put any thought to it? Just got to think about it every day, but I don't want to take the hormones and it basically grow whatever lump this is in my chest. But they already did a test for the lump and said it was non-cancerous. And so because cancer runs in Candace's family, she's like super anxiety ridden about it. But Chris is like, girl, they already told you okay, I do think half of it is Candace is like freaking out about it. Like, what if it turns into something? I don't like there being a lump. And then the other half is she's stalling with having kids. I think as much as Candace likes the idea of kids, I think it scares her to have kids because of, one, the relationship that she had with her mom. I think she's scared that it could possibly end up that way. And she doesn't want to, people say, like, I don't want to, mess my kid up. I think she has a big kind of like wound in regards to that. And also, once you have a kid, like, shit changes. There ain't no living when you wanna, like, you are on somebody else's schedule, okay? And I think she's not necessarily ready for that either. So I think Candace loves the ideas of kids and, like, in theory wants one, but the reality of it scares her. And we'll see how it plays out with them having kids and stuff. But moving on, Wendy and NECA, they sit down, and this is where we gonna have to have some conversation, y'all. NECA and Wendy sit down, and basically, of course, they get to it. On Wendy's side, her thing is, girl, you called me out my name, you called my mama a witch. In our culture, calling somebody a witch is a no-no. And she was like, yep, understood, but that was after, okay, your mama called and, like, went off and, like, said she submitted my name to a shrine. And we all know this kind of stemmed from before NECA got on the show. It went from, I guess, Lebe to Ivy, because they were the ones that were friends, or Ivy, however it got to Lebe, basically, that Wendy did not want her, I guess, getting on the show via her. I don't know. And I'm thinking that might have possibly happened right around the time that probably Lebe and Ivy fell out. I'm just going to assume. Because if they fell out, then they don't want nobody coming on, like, as an extension of her, is what I am feeling like is the only logical reason. Because I don't understand why any other reason why Wendy wouldn't necessarily want her on the show. Like, I could I see Wendy want to do the whole like, oh, I'm the only Nigerian thing? Like, yes and no. Like, I'm kind of leaning towards no, because at the end of the day, like, she sees the bigger picture of like the conversation that we're having about colorism on here and things like that. So I think she would have leaned more into that. But because NECA is an extension of Lebe, I'm really feeling like that's why that played a huge part in why she was like, oh, I don't want her coming on. Like, she's gonna use my name for clout. Like, did NECA explain that she knew Wendy? Yes, they got you right there, NECA. So it's like, yeah, did you use Wendy's name? Yeah, but it's like when she was explaining the situation, that's why it's kind of like, she's explained the situation of what happened behind scenes. So it's just kind of like this situation really is just kind of like blowing up more than what it should. Only really honestly on account of the fact that honestly, because Wendy's mama got involved. Like, if you really think about it, because at the end of the day, she was like, I only said that until after your mom called and said she submitted my name to a shrine. Like, you would have said there talking about your family was affected. Like, mine was affected too. Like, And so she was like, I'm not even talking about anybody else. I'm talking about my mama. So you need to apologize and, acknowledge that that was wrong or whatever. And so NECA's like, I apologize for calling you bitch, and I apologize for calling your mom a witch. And she was like, okay, thank you. And then NECA kind of went back to, but also, there is just some acknowledging that has to be done. I think Wendy lost me because she wants to say that on the only person who was wronged in this situation was her, via the witch. Like, the witch, tops any other accusation or wrongdoing that happened in between the two of them. But Wendy, I'm sorry, in my opinion, I feel like she knows NECA knows that her mama called, and then for Wendy to sit there and tell that loud, like, oh, my, talks about mom and sister, and they, unequivocally said that didn't happen. When in the flashback, Wendy's mama all but said she called and cussed that bitch out. Like, she called and said, unholy things, because for you to call somebody, and it was definitely giving veiled threat. It was giving, she was like, all I did was call to tell her that, it's very hard to make friends, but very fast to make enemies. If you hear that, how you taking that, y'all? If somebody calls you and wants to get and say, oh, it's very, hard to make friends, but very easy to make enemies. Does that not sound like a threat? Does that not sound like a threat? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We saw what Wendy's mama said to me in that whole situation, literally raining down hellfire on Twitter. I feel like she called, went off, and Wendy knows it, which is why she keeps trying to direct the conversation back to a thing of like, oh, we're talking about me. We're talking about me. Like, just what happened between us. She's like, I want to keep it there. And because NECA's claim is of a third party, it's not valid. And it's like, no, just like your mama, you said that your parent, your mama and sister, unequivocally, can, validate it themselves. She's like, I have a third, I can have them validate the stuff too. And so Wendy got up, you don't want to make peace. You don't want to make peace. And I do feel like of the two, NECA is more open to making peace. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I think NECA realized she came in hella strong and she pushed it. I think NECA realized she pushed it. But for the sake of the show and for the sake of actually moving on and creating what both of them say that they would have hoped for, which was Nigerian women, bonding and stuff like that, this is something that can be easily put aside. And NECA apologized. NECA, said, I'm sorry for calling your mama witch and calling you out your name. But I think NECA was just simply wanting her to acknowledge, like, but girl, your mama called. But Wendy's not going to admit that. And when Wendy left, NECA, like, teared up. And she's like, I'm not even tearing up about Wendy. It's just like, don't sit here and play my face and act like you don't know that shit happened behind the scenes. Which for me is like, I can understand frustration because I'm one of those people where it's like, don't play in my face. Like, I'm one of those people that definitely is like, don't play on my intelligence. Don't try to play on my head top. Like, that shit would piss me off too. So I definitely find fault, like I said, in NECA and her kind of getting involved in the whole Lebe situation. And when you came in, you did kind of like name drop Wendy a little bit. But as far as like the continuation going forward, it does kind of seem like a Wendy drag on situation. Y'all drop down in the comments. What do y'all feel about NECA and Wendy, how their interaction went? Do you guys believe that Wendy's mama called and wished all type of bumbleclots over there to the Lebe and NECA household? Because I really do, y'all. We not gonna play that game. I'm sorry. I just you can't trust a woman who is a chameleon, who look like a mocha java chip one day and then looks like caramel drizzle the next. You can't trust old ladies like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. The ladies, they head on over to the DR. I found it real quite ironic that they made it to the DR, and this seems to be the place that everybody else is going. Is Curtis. Curtis, okay. Curtis is making it to the DR every 2 weeks. Like, something's popping off down there. They all get on the airport or whatever, make it, to the DR. And on the thing, everybody's talking, Robin's like, let's not try to clear nothing up. This ain't about, kumbaya, but like, let's just have fun. And they started screaming. Kiara, she's like, I got the Advil, the ibuprofen. As much as people want to like rank on those people, you need those people who got the medical essentials, the Band-Aids, the alcohol wipes, the hand sanitizer, the chapstick. Like, you gotta have a responsible one out the group. So I ain't even mad at it, Kiara. And she was struggling because she has an ulcer, and I know the feeling of like having ulcer symptoms. Because I have IBS, and so like the stomach is sensitive, and if you drink alcohol on top of it, oh yeah, it's over. But in the car, Karen was like, oh, wait a minute, this is the same place that Ray used to tell me he would go to. She was like, yeah, like 20 years ago, I remember calling up here, and a girl picked up the phone. It was like a hello, like, this is Ray's room, and all the ladies was like, oh, so who was it? And she was like, well, he clarified, was like, oh, they have housekeeping and da-da-da-da. Everybody's assigned a butler in the house. And so everybody was like, right. Okay, whatever story you want to tell yourself, Karen, okay. At that point, it ain't like, I'm sure that was probably one of those situations where he told her that story, and then like 5 years later, she was thinking back and was like, you know what? That motherfucker tricked me. Like, that nigga got me. This shit ain't adding up. You know that thing where it's like the meme where it's like where it's like all of a sudden something popped in your head that did add up from your boyfriend a month before, and it's like all the math symbols, and a song could just randomly pop up in your head. Like, that's how it is sometimes. A situation will randomly pop up in your head where you be thinking like, you know what? That motherfucker got over on me. Like, now that I think about it, and Karen, I'm sure she was already years in and stuff, so she let him slide, but the tides is turning because you might have had your women's back in the day, but Karen got her dicks now. Karen got her dicks in a row, not ducks in a row. She got her dicks in a row. Oh man, Karen said, "Look, you ain't finna play with me. I got this new body, yaddy yaddy, and somebody's gonna see it, okay?" So they finally get to the thing. They of course do the whole room situation. Robin's suite was beautiful. And it came down to Sharon, and of course Wendy, Candace, no, I don't think they were expecting a room. Ashley got hers, but she offered it to Karen because Karen was being a diva. That's all that was. Karen was having a diva moment. Because when they finally settled it out, and Robin was like, girl, if you look, Ashley's room is the view that you talking about, dumbass. But she just didn't want to hear it because she wanted to stay in her diva moment. So she threatened to sleep on the couch and stuff and talking about, oh, the managers said we was too loud. Yeah, the managers want to keep all y'all hoes, y'all Tasmanian devils on one side of the island to not interrupt they billionaires and stuff over there. over there trying to have some peace and quiet while they cheat on their wives, okay? Blowing up the spot. All right, this is where the millionaires and billionaires do all their dirty work, okay? So Gizelle goes to check in on Kiarna. And Kiarna, like, I really wonder why we're not getting more Kiarna. Like, I really want more of her. Especially the fact that Gizelle, Robin, and Wendy, like, she is an integral piece. Like, she knows them. So I'm just kind of confused why we're not getting more Kiarna. And then to me, it was also weird, too, when Kiarna's like, oh, I'll share with you. And Wendy was like, nah. I was kind of giving, like something about it just did not sit right with me. Because it's like, if that's your girl, why don't you want to, or like, why don't you be like, oh girl, I come to your room over there? Like, it was just like, it was a little too harsh and too fast for me, the way she was like, nah, your room over there. Like, I just was kind of like, ugh. Something about it just didn't sit right with me. But Gizelle definitely took advantage of the moment. You know, even though it was halfway concerned for Kiarna, and it was also another halfway of, let me take advantage of this moment to see how, you know, crappy these girls are as friends. Because how your friend over here throwing up and don't feel good and you don't check on her. But even though I don't like the heifer, you know, right is wrong is wrong. Like, this girl is, like, was introduced on here through Wendy or Candace. So the fact that neither one of you two checked in is kind of giving, like, damn, that don't look good. So everybody's getting ready to go out, and Gizelle pulls all the light brights over Ashley, Mia, Robin, and she lets them know, and NECA, okay? Because NECA's now going to be used as an integral tool to get back at Karen, because, you know, Karen said that NECA don't live in Potomac, but the zip code say NECA live in Potomac, okay? And so Gizelle definitely going to rub it in Karen's face. So before they all go out to do the night golf and eating and stuff like that, they pull all the ladies out back, and Gizelle doing the most is, so, you know, Karen, you know, I heard that you had something to say about NECA. And Karen was like, girl, you told him? She was like, yeah. She's like, that was supposed to be a girl's moment. Bitch, what you mean? You shaded the dog mess out of me. What you mean this is supposed to be a girl's moment? You shaded me. Girl, like somebody, you shaded me. So now Gizelle was like, I did give Karen the Grand Dame name, so just as much as I can give it, I can take it. And so it was like a whole coronation of them, like, crowning NECA the queen, you know, the Grand Dame. And it definitely was given, like, Gizelle, one, knew she needed to make a moment on the show because she been half-assing all season. Two, it definitely was a way to rub salt in the wound for Karen. And three, she definitely is able to kind of pull NECA in more on her side in situations like this. Candace walked off. She's like, I ain't trying to get involved in this. She saw for what it was. Like, girl, okay, you anytime you get opportunity to nag at somebody or drive the knife in further, you gonna do it. And Candace was not trying to be here for it. I'm still mad this whole season we ain't had a Candace and Gizelle interaction for her to be confronted about her bull. So hopefully the reunion is where that happens, because Gizelle is slithering, okay? Slithering out of accountability. Yeah, Robin and Karen did the blah blah blah. When they started doing that back and forth, I immediately thought of Sheree. Y'all remember that iconic scene? With Sheree, and who else was it? Sheree, and was it Nene or somebody? I was so Sheree and somebody. But yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. But then yeah, that's kind of where the episode ended. Candace was not trying to be involved in all of that. She said, y'all can play with them, not with me. And yeah, so next week we will see some things go on back and forth, I think, with Ashley and Candace and NECA and somebody. But y'all drop in the comments what y'all feel about Housewives of Potomac. What's needed to change? How you feel about the NECA and Wendy situation? Do y'all believe Karen is out there, you know, getting her swerve on outside of Ray? Candace, she threw a jab in there on Robin. She said, oh, we got this hotel, Robin. Is it possible that Juan paid for this one too? Because, you know, he seemed to have enough money to pay for hotels, don't he? But yeah, you guys, I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and I will catch y'all later. Deuces.